Hey everybody, this is your Digital Super Saiyan 3 back here with a new video, and, well, let's talk about the year known as 2006. In 2006, a new Superman movie was on the rise, and it had been 19 years since the release of Superman for the Quest for Peace. So yeah, it was a total of 19 years in between Superman Returns' release and the release of Superman for the Quest for Peace. But to coincide with Superman Returns' release, Warner Brothers decided to release an animated movie that was also set in the DCAU, which is Superman Brainiac Attacks, which was set to coincide with the release of Superman Returns. And Brainiac Attacks is the movie we're going to be looking at today. So I just got done watching it on HBO Max. And reliving this movie made me question just why. I cannot believe that this film even exists. Superman Brainiac Attacks is probably the worst animated Superman movie I've ever seen. It definitely would be on my list of my top 5 worst Superman movies. If I ever made a list of the 5 Superman movies I don't like, Brainiac Attacks would obviously be on this list. I mean, after all, it takes place in the universe of Superman the Animated Series, or the DCAU. But the thing is, it kind of ignores the continuity of the DCAU. And, okay, so the movie begins with credits in outer space, just like in the original Superman movies, as a meteor is whizzing by the credits, and the credits say Superman Brainiac Attacks. Now we cut to Lex Luthor's office, and Lex Luthor is voiced by Powers Booth. Powers Booth. Now this guy is actually the voice actor who voiced Gorilla Grodd in Justice League and Justice League Unlimited. And he's talking to... And anyway, he's voicing Lex in this movie, since Clancy Brown, the always prominent voice of Lex Luthor, wasn't around. So, Powers Booth took over. And he's not really that great as Lex in this movie. He has this tendency to crack a lot of bad jokes. And yes, I want to talk about Mercy. She is voiced by Tara Strong. And Lex is showing off a piece of kryptonite and talking about how Superman has foiled his plans for world domination. Okay. And how Superman has interfered with his business of free enterprising. And then Lex has the tendency to show off his new invention, Up, and Away, above Metropolis, the Lex 9000, because even Superman cannot patrol the entire Earth for 24 hours. And, well, and it's not that Superman couldn't patrol the Earth for 24 hours. Superman has a life, of course. I mean, with his whole alter ego as Clark Kent, because people would wonder where Clark Kent would be, while Superman would be patrolling the Earth for 24 hours. So, the meteor crashes down at a strange meteor crashes down at Lex Labs, and we're introduced to Brainiac. Okay, Brainiac has already been on Earth. Why even have him come out of a meteor and attack Lex Labs? He's already been on Earth. And all of a sudden now he comes to Earth again? Did they just sort of reboot Brainiac here? Like, they kind of just ignored the continuity that Superman the Animated Series had established, with Brainiac, especially. So, Brainiac begins while Brainiac is attacking Lex Labs, he begins to absorb the data from Lex Labs' computer, only for Superman to show up. And not right behind him is the likes of Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen. Now, yes, DCAU actors who got to appear in this movie include Tim Daly as Superman, which Tim Daly was always great as Superman. He's definitely my favorite Superman. Dana Delaney as Lois Lane returns. David Kaufman returning to the role of Jimmy Olsen. And yes, this was happening while David Kaufman was doing Danny Phantom on Nickelodeon. Yes, I am aware David Kaufman was doing this while he was doing Danny Phantom. So, Brainiac says, the son of Krypton. Okay, most of the time, whenever Brainiac and Superman always interacted in Superman the Animated Series and in Justice League, he always called Superman Kal-El. And now he's just calling him the son of Krypton all throughout this movie. Lance Hendrickson does the voice of Brainiac in this movie. And I gotta say, it's not that I think he's bad as Brainiac, but I just didn't understand why they couldn't have gotten Brainiac's actual voice actor from Justice League and Justice League Unlimited, as well as Superman the Animated Series, because it was the same guy who did Brainiac throughout the DCAU. I mean, you got Tim Daly back to voice Superman, as well as Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen's voice actors. So, Superman chases after a missile that Brainiac launched into the city. Superman manages to catch it, while Lois is observing the action from a radio tower she climbed. But then Superman returns to Lex Labs to fight against Brainiac. And during the fight, Brainiac takes command of the Lex 9000. And Luthor is impressed as he's watching through his limousine. Although he's still bummed out that his Lex 9000 was being used to pummel Superman instead of protect the planet. Though, yeah, Luthor was conflicted with this whole thing. Anyway, Superman manages to reduce Brainiac to scrap after freezing Brainiac and then punching him. And then rescues Lois from falling to her death. And Lois thanks Superman, and then Superman flies off. So then, Lex retrieved Brainiac's chip after he interacted with Superman, Lois, and Jimmy. And Lex takes the chip of Brainiac back to his labs. And he begins to strike a deal with Brainiac as he's rebuilding Brainiac. Now, here's the thing. When Brainiac and Lex are interacting, they act like they haven't even met each other. That's the thing. Lex and Brainiac have met each other before. They've met each other several times throughout the DCAU. Hell, in Justice League Unlimited, they fused together. And all of a sudden, they pretend like they don't even know each other. That's kind of the one thing that really bothers me about this movie, is like how they ignore the continuity of what Superman the Animated Series had established throughout the entire DCAU, because this movie was definitely the pinnacle of ignoring the DCAU's continuity, and this movie shows it. So, they also have Jimmy Olsen in this movie develop a crush on Mercy. Okay, since when did Jimmy Olsen have a freaking crush on Lex Luthor's hostile chauffeur, Mercy? Since when did that happen? Like, when did that happen? I don't understand. When did that happen? What? When did that happen? It's just as confusing as Tessmacher's whole going back to Lex at the beginning of Superman 2. when Tessmacher broke Lex out of jail in Superman 2. Like, even though she chose to rescue Superman in Superman 1 from the kryptonite, after Superman then promised her that he would save her mother. Tessmacher shouldn't have done that. Why did she go back to working with Lex? And I thought Lex would have been pissed off with her about that, but that's another story for another day. I mean, I've already reviewed Superman 2. So, back to Brainiac attacks. Lex launches a probe with Brainiac inside as Brainiac's chip, along with the piece of kryptonite that looks like a small grain of rice, as well as a sample of Superman's DNA that Brainiac can use to log on to Superman to know where he is at all times, and launches him into space. And then Lex says, "See you at Superman's funeral." The food critic at the Daily Planet got sick after eating some bad oysters, so Clark and Lois are left to cover for her as they are reviewing a fancy restaurant in the middle of Metropolis. Oh yes, and all throughout this movie, Clark is wondering when will be the right time to tell Lois the truth, to tell her that he is Superman. Now, Lois has learned the secret of Clark being Superman in several different adaptations, but never in the DCAU. Strangely enough, the DCAU's version of Superman has never told Lois the truth. And he's wondering when will be the perfect time to tell Lois the truth. So, meanwhile, out into outer space, Brainiac begins reconfiguring as he combines with the Lex 9000 into this ginormous robot. And he heads towards Metropolis and begins attacking Metropolis while Clark and Lois were out on their, review of this restaurant. Clark begins using his super hearing to detect Brainiac when Brainiac says, "Son of Krypton, I've come to kill you." And then Superman changes into the bathroom, and a fight ensues between Brainiac and Superman. And during the fight, Brainiac zapped Lois Lane with his kryptonite laser. And Lois's metabolism is damaged, which means she'll be on her deathbed from Brainiac's attack, and giving Superman even more higher stakes to rescue her even now than before in order to cure her of the poisoning she had suffered. Superman managed to put Brainiac on ice for now, but Brainiac reconfigured himself. Superman then decides to head towards the Fortress of Solitude, shortly after stealing a sample of Lois's blood. So, while Lois is on her deathbed in the hospital and Perry White is by her bedside, he, as well as Jimmy Olsen, with the Daily Planet shorthanded, with Perry White assuming that Clark is going to be his new foreign correspondent, and Jimmy Olsen is like the only one that Perry could scrounge together to cover the Luthor shindig that Lex Luthor had put together, as Lex Luthor begins throwing himself a luau to honor himself. And then Brainiac yet again continues his attack as he attacks Superman at the Fortress of Solitude. But Superman manages to have the Fortress of Solitude sets it to self-destruct, so Brainiac wouldn't steal the secrets of the Kryptonian people, even though Brainiac himself already had the knowledge of Krypton that Superman had stolen back from him in the Stolen Memories episode. So yeah, yet again, another problem. They yet again ignore the continuity that the DCAU sets up. Okay. So, in order to cure Lois's poisoning, with the kryptonite enzymes racing through her body, Superman must, or with this new amped up kryptonite enzymes racing through Lois's body from Brainiac's laser, Superman has to travel to the Phantom Zone to get this substance that will shield him and Lois, or shield him and cure Lois of the amped up kryptonite particles flowing through her body. So after going into the Phantom Zone, Superman takes a test tube and finds the substance in the heart of the Phantom Zone. But the thing is, phantoms from the Phantom Zone begin attacking him. And now, okay, the Phantom Zone looks completely different from how it looked in Superman the Animated Series. Okay. So, Superman races through the Phantom Zone to find a portal to get back to Metropolis. At one point, he thought he actually made it back to Metropolis. But it turns out, no, he was tricked by a phantom. Meanwhile, at Luthor's party, while Brainiac has yet again announced his attack on Metropolis, Lex Luthor gets into one of his old battle mechs and says that I'm going to use this battle mech to defeat Brainiac. And basically, because Brainiac and Lex's deal was that if Brainiac kills Superman and Lex basically manages to avenge Superman by dressing up in one of his old mech suits, he would basically send Brainiac packing and Brainiac would go to conquer some other planet. But thing is, Brainiac never had any intention to honor the agreement. Especially since he already knew Lex would already betray him. And things weren't looking good for Lex. Yeah, this takes away the intelligence part of Lex's character and focuses more on the arrogant asshole part of Lex's character. Lex is supposed to be an incredible genius, and yet, I mean, he could have built himself a more advanced mech suit, but instead he takes one of his old clunkers to have his clock cleaned by Brainiac. And while racing through the Phantom, so after escaping the Phantom Zone, Superman arrives back in Metropolis. And now he ends up having to join the fight and ends up beating Brainiac. But he then races back to the hospital with the test tube in sight. But Brainiac is not giving up. No, all that's left is just a head. And the head of Brainiac's machine follows Superman towards the hospital, where he uses one of his tentacles to smash the test tube that Superman had with the substance. Then Superman smashes Brainiac, chip and all, only then to cure Lois himself when Lois absorbs the alloy through her body while Superman is kissing her and tears was going through his eyes. Lois is cured yet again. And of course, we cut back to the hospital of Jimmy having to be lied up after getting kicked around by Mercy, and yes, he even discovered that Lex and Brainiac were in cahoots with each other. Lex, assuming that he's Superman's best friend, just trying to lie to the press, until one of the news reporters found the piece of kryptonite with the Lex Corp logo attached to it. And Lex is like, Mercy, phone my lawyers. All of them. And Then the movie ends with Lois quickly back on her feet as she's going to cover a story with Mr. Mixius Spitalik attacking the harbor. Or attacking the wharf. And Superman flying. And then Clark overhearing this, and he begins flying away after he tells Perry, I just can't be your foreign correspondent because I get homesick too easily. And then he said, yeah, I kind of figured. Welcome back, Clark. Welcome back, Kent. And, of course, that's the end of this movie. Final thoughts with Superman Brainiac Attacks. I think this movie really, really, really sucks. First of all, it ignores what the DCAU had set up with these characters. Second of all, this movie was clearly made as a quick cash grab just to piggyback off of Superman Returns' success, which that film was not very successful. But I digress. So, yeah. This has been your Digital Super Saiyan 3. And I will see you guys next time. See ya!